Welcome to Lessons in Leadership. Steve Adubato. Everything you want and need to know about leadership right here on this show with my colleague, Mary Gamba. Mary, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great today, Steve. How are you?
Oh, you must be reading an introduction of our guest. Is that why you have your glasses on?
Yeah, my glasses are the cue to all of our viewers now from this point forward that if I'm reading something, I have my glasses on. But it's truly my honor. I'd love to introduce, we have Heather Andersen, who's the president and CEO of Special Olympics of New Jersey, and Lori Acker, SVP, COO, and Operational Transformation, Delta Dental of New Jersey. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. I agree. Thanks for having us.
Well, hold on. Lori, why do we have both of you on as if there's a connection, there's a partnership between Delta Dental, our longtime partners and sponsors, and Special Olympics of New Jersey? What is the connection, Lori?
Steve, Mary, we've been partners with Special Olympics New Jersey for 33 years now. We started back in 1990. We hosted or sponsored winter games at the time, and our partnership grew from there, and we are now a premier partner of theirs. And like I said, have been proud to be a partner and sponsor for 33 years. And we also, I have the privilege of being on the board for Special Olympics, and I get to be part of Heather's team, and which is a great privilege. And
also, Delta Dental has raised a significant amount of money. It's an organization that cares deeply from a philanthropic point of view. And even though we're taping this, Mary, middle of April, in May, and this may be seen after May, there's a terrific golf outing sponsored by Delta Dental. Proceeds go to Special Olympics of New Jersey. I heard you have a really, really big name this year as the MC of that event. Is that probably?
No, you're exactly right. You are exactly right. It's you, Steve, and you've been so gracious.
I'm like, what did I not know?
Steve, you've been so gracious over the years to do this for us, and you're a big hit, and we enjoy having you, and we love the fact that you're coming back for this year.
It's exactly the way I sent you an email and asked you to say this. But in all seriousness, I apologize for making it about me. It's not about me. It's about the athletes in Special Olympics. And help us on this, Heather. The athletes who are there, many of them are there that day. It's so important that they're part of the event. They're leaders. They make a difference, and the proceeds go to supporting their activities. Who are the athletes, and why do they matter so much?
Well, our athletes, they're young and old, starting at age 2 to, I think our oldest athlete is in their 70s now. So it's a lifetime organization for our athletes and their families and caregivers. And our mission, our core is sport, but it's so much more. It's just being able to be part of something more than yourself, to show we talk about showcasing abilities and not a disability. And, I think partners like Delta Dental for over the years they've been there for the right reasons. They're meaningful partners, and they want to not only help raise money that's so crucial for us, but they're there to help. They're there to be ambassadors for us and advocates and leaders across the state of New Jersey. So our mission, I think, is more relevant now than it ever was coming out of the pandemic, more relevant than when Mrs. Shriver started in the 1960s.
Yeah, Eunice Shriver. Go all the way back to Eunice Shriver, her role in creating a national Special Olympics organization. Mary, jump in, please.
So I want to talk a little bit about the importance of partnerships. Delta Dental of New Jersey, I mentioned, we have Dennis Wilson on a lot talking about small business. Talk a little bit about the importance of Delta Dental of New Jersey partnering with the Special Olympics. Why is it so important to you and to Delta Dental to forge such strong partnerships?
A few reasons. One, Dennis Wilson, our CEO, as you guys have mentioned, he's a big proponent of, very big proponent. It was actually one of his asks of his senior team to choose a company, an issue, a board that, for us to participate on. I chose Special Olympics. Actually, I shouldn't say I chose, they chose me. They were gracious enough to choose me. I'm a former college athlete, so sports are huge in my life. And I'm a huge believer in Special Olympics movement. And so it was easy as an employee to to meet Dennis with his ask and do such a thing. And as a result, it's not just me, others in the organization have found their passion, if you will, and have also joined and partnered. So not only do we partner with Special Olympics New Jersey, we have many partners, but Special Olympics New Jersey has been a flagship, our flagship partner for 33 years. And our associates are just big proponents and support them every year.
Thank you, Lori. Heather, we're going to put up the website we have already of Special Olympics of New Jersey. Talk to folks so they can understand if they want to contribute, if they want to volunteer. Why are those dollars so critical, raised by Delta Dental, other organizations as well? But in this case, that my involvement with Special Olympics comes through Delta Dental. Why are those dollars so important, and why and how can people help out if they want to make a difference, please?
So the funds are so important. The main reason, we don't charge registration fees. So we do not turn anybody away from our mission and our programming based on cost, because there's no cost to the athlete. So that is where the funds that are raised through the generosity of Delta Dental and their employees, individuals like yourself, Steve, who really spread the awareness for us to encourage people to get involved. Everything is free. We offer 24 sports to over 20,000 athletes a year. And, everything from overnight stays to uniforms to facility rentals, we cover all that. So we ensure that individuals with intellectual disabilities, young and old, can participate in our programs without a barrier.
Yeah, Mary, final question on your end.
Yeah, definitely. We talk a lot about coaching, mentoring, the importance of having coaches and mentors in our lives. Lori, can you talk a little bit about maybe somebody in your life who has truly influenced you as a leader today? I know you mentioned, what sport did you play, by the way? You mentioned you were a college athlete.
Basketball.
Nice.
And that's an easy question. I would say my high school basketball coach was the biggest influence on my life. Not so much, of course, related to the sport, but now as an adult, I can look back and say the things I learned during that period of time that I'm able to bring into my professional life could never be replaced. And I couldn't tell you that at the time, but I certainly can tell you that now. He was huge role model for me. And
where was that, Lori? Sorry, where was that?
I played for Morris Catholic in Denville, New Jersey, back in the 80s. Graduated in 82. We were state champions. We were actually in the state finals. My senior year, we were 28-0 going into the state finals, and we lost to Gloucester Catholic.
We were hoping for a win. Just tell us you won. We wouldn't know.
Wish.
Mary,
I wish.
And I think people and Special Olympics athletes, I'm sure, even though they compete, and it's so exciting to see them compete. You remember every aspect of every game all the way back to high school. I'm not going to go into the state championship football game that SS Catholic, my high school, against Seton Hall Prep, lost in the last second of the game. I was about to be the star of the game, and then we lost, and I will not share because it's not about me. It's about Lori and her team. I'll leave that alone.
I'm sure, right? You talk about, I remember the buzzer and us losing, and you watch these athletes today, these kids in college, they cry, these men that cry, and I'm like, I so feel you. I so feel the emotion that goes into it.
Yeah, Heather, how is it different for the Special Olympic athletes? They want to win, but is it less about winning, or is competition just competition?
But you know what? They definitely want to win. There's no doubt about that. But I think there's that piece of the sportsmanship and the camaraderie that I don't know if you see in any other sport. Just being part of something, they feel it, they embrace it, and then the Special Olympics athlete oath is let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. And they go out there every day wanting to be brave in the attempt, and I think that separates us from sport.
Everything you said makes perfect sense, but I've competed against some of the Special Olympic athletes on a particular hole over at Essex Fells Country Club that's holding the event. Trust me, they want to beat you. I've been there and I've been beaten by every Special Olympic athlete who golfs. I'm just sharing that. I want to thank you, Heather. Thank you, Lori, for joining us, and best to the team at Special Olympics of New Jersey and to our partners and friends at Delta Dental. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary and I will be right back after this. This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the Buccino Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, Fedway Associates Inc., Veolia, Resourcing the World, Choose New Jersey, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague, Mary Gamba, has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA, and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ, and Commerce Magazine, and Meadowlands Media, a print and digital business news network.
This is the Seton Hall story, one that comes to life every day on our campus. This is the place where great minds discover, innovate, collaborate, and find their true calling. This is the place where passion has a purpose, where learning inspires leading. The bonds we make, the values we teach, inspire our community to take heart and take action. This is Seton Hall University. This is what great minds can do.
Mary and I are pleased to welcome our longtime friend, Patricia Stark, who is the author of this book, Calmfidence. You didn't think I had this book, this prop right here, Mary. Calmfidence, how to trust yourself, tame your inner critic, and shine in any spotlight. Also, co-hosting a new show on 77 WABC with our longtime friend, Ernie Patricia. The name of the show, Patricia, is?
Well, it's so great to be here with you both, first of all. And the name of the show is Positively Ernie and Patricia.
All right, look, you are the two of the most positive people I've ever met. How the heck, first of all, you've worked together in the past before.
Yes, Ernie and I have known each other for many, many years, did some work at Fox 5, did some things with a national show that he had done called Positively America. And we always said we wanted to host a show together that was all positive, good news, all uplifting, inspiring, and we got our wish. So we're extremely happy right now.
How dare you do something positive in the media? Describe the show, the format of the show. And by the way, we'll put up the website so people can find out more. We are on public broadcasting and other outlets, but we also want to share the work of our colleagues that are doing important work. Please, Patricia.
Well, thank you both so much for the opportunity to share the good news. So it is live every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern, and it is a call-in talk format. We start with topics. We have guests that could be anywhere from a celebrity to a guest expert, to a newsmaker, educator. Doesn't matter, as long as they have inspiring tips and stories, things that are going to kind of refill your cup before another work week. And that was one thing we were so pleased with getting the 5 o'clock time slot on a Sunday is that's really when you're poised to start a new week. And if we can do something to help refill that cup, recharge those batteries, launch into a good week, it's really been working great. And over the last month and a half since we've launched, we've been taking more phone calls, and you can tell that listeners really appreciate the fact that they get to call in with their words of wisdom and things that are working for them. And it's not all just good news and, giggles. We really tackle subjects that are important and that might be tough, but in a solution-oriented way.
As Mary jumps in, Patricia and I have known each other for a long time as well, and she has been coaching, mentoring, teaching others how to communicate with more confidence and connect with the message they want to get across in a very passionate and meaningful way. And I've learned a lot from her books and her work for a long time. Mary, jump in.
Yeah, and I was going to say there's probably no accident that you went from confidence, communicating with a sense of calm and confidence at the same time, and also the power of positivity, the power of thinking. And we all have that innate ability, right, to to reframe our thoughts I've always heard this a million times, it's not what happens to you, it's your reaction to it. Can you talk a little bit about the connection between our positive thinking and then just overall our outlook on life, and then ultimately how that ties into what you're doing with Ernie and the show?
Yes, well, thank you. So I really believe that everything starts from within. Whether it is your calm, the foundation of how you're launching into your day, your communications with others, your interpersonal skills, everything starts in our internal world. And if we don't work on that first, then we have a shaky foundation for anything. And that can affect, again, our success, our leadership skills, our relationships. So taking the time to do that inner work and trying to come from an optimistic perspective, or at least somewhat of a positive slant on things, which is what we do have control over, by the way. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, they're naturally an optimist or a pessimist. But you know what? Once you're an adult, you actually get to make it is a choice. You decide, am I going to lean in one direction or another? It might take a little bit more work to be positive and to be optimistic, but it's certainly worth the payoff. And when I was doing the research on the book and interviewing a lot of clients and students, and they all wanted that sense of calm and confidence simultaneously, that all still started from, what are the stories you're telling yourself internally? What are you visualizing ahead of time? And if it's garbage in, it's garbage out. If it's negative in, it's negative out. And of course, positive in, positive out, to the best of our ability.
You know, and because we've had Ernie on so many times, and check out our website that'll be up on the screen at steveautobato.org. We've had Ernie on many times in the past, and he and I have worked together for a long time, different networks at different times. And he's got to be one of the most positive people I've ever met. I mean, over a lot of years. And so here's where I'm going with this, Patricia. Given all the polarization, the divisiveness, the negativity, if we disagree, Patricia, we must be enemies, because you must be a terrible person if you disagree with me. And January 6th is only a piece of the larger mosaic across the country. How the heck do you do a show on positivity with that going on?
Oh, it's kind of, you know, like a ship in an ocean, locking off any of the holes or issues to not sink, right? So it's compartmentalizing and saying, for this hour, for the prep leading up to this show, we're going to focus on what is going right. What can we do, each of us do, to be more kind to each other, to have more civility, to try to find that common ground? Because all this divisiveness does is dehumanize us. You know, once we sit down on a human level and realize that we all want the same things, we all want to be with people we love, we all want safety and security, and to make a decent living, and come home to a safe home and neighborhood, and be with, again, people that we care about. I mean, that really is what it all comes down to. Everything else is just noise. And, you know, I'm really a big believer that there are, whether you want to call it entities, agendas, people, whatever, they want to create so much external noise that we forget the power that we all have inside and internally to determine our daily lives. So it's so important to watch what you're letting in. What is focus? What are you focusing on? Because
including media
becomes your reality.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Patricia. Including media/social media, what you let in influences your ability to be positive or not.
Right, right. And it doesn't take much to be kind. It doesn't take much to just look around and say, you know what, these are other human beings. And what are we all fighting about? And, you know, I understand that people have their political views and they hold strong to them. But
does it make us enemies?
Right. Well, you can't just blindly say you're on that team and I'm on this team, because when at the end of the day, we're all Americans. And beyond that, we're all human beings. I can remember as a kid thinking to myself and having a conversation with my dad at one point, even before there was this much divisiveness, and saying, wow, you know, I wonder if aliens ever landed on the earth. Is that the only way that we would all join together to be us against them and have it benefit us? You know, it sounds like a crazy thing, but it was from a kid's perspective. But there's a little bit of truth in that. And I think we're getting nowhere by, you know, forgetting how to respectfully disagree. And I think there should be signs all over the city that are little reminders that just say, be kind, just be kind. And to be so divisive is getting none of us anywhere.
Plug the show one more time on 77 WABC.
It's Positively Ernie and Patricia, live from 5 to 6 p.m. And we take phone calls. We want to hear the wisdom of other people. We don't all have the answers. We don't have all the positivity, but we want to hear how other people are trying to find it and work into their lives. And it's so important right now. And I can't tell you, when I tell people about the show, how many people say, oh my gosh, we need that type of show now more than ever.
Now more than ever. Patricia Stark and her colleague, our good friend Ernie Anastas on 77 WABC, and also Patricia's book, Calmfidence. Important book, important work. Patricia, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you both so much. Really appreciate it.
You got it. Mary and I will be back after this. This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the Buccino Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, Fedway Associates Inc., Veolia, Resourcing the World, Choose New Jersey, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague, Mary Gamba, has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA, and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ, and Commerce Magazine, and Meadowlands Media, a print and digital business news network.
The essence of the North Ward Center is ingrained in our values, thoughts, and actions. What began as a storefront on Bloomfield Avenue has evolved into a life-changing community nonprofit. The mansion is steeped in tradition, but with all of its grandeur, the true essence of the North Ward Center is in the people we serve. So as the North Ward Center commemorates 50 years of service, let's also celebrate the many opportunities yet to come.
Hey, folks, thank you for staying with us. You just listened to our good friend Patricia Stark, and check out Patricia's show every Sunday evening on WABC, 77 WABC, Positively Ernie. That's Ernie Anastas, Positively Ernie and Patricia. I think she said from 5 to 6 on Sunday evenings. Good stuff. Hey, Mary, can we talk positivity?
I would love to.
Is it a choice, or do you say, look at what's going on around me? This isn't working. That's not working. I'm feeling crappy. We've talked about this a million times. I have Elvin, who I remember about a year ago, maybe it wasn't even that long ago. He told me in the beginning of the day I was cranky, and Elvin had the nerve to say to me, smile.
It was either going to go really well or you were going to fire him on the spot. And I'm glad it went well.
Well, for him, he wished he was fired, I think. I think he wants out of this. But in all seriousness, I got peeved that he said that. And my attitude, I had chosen, literally, I wasn't going to be happy that day because I wasn't feeling well. I was thinking, could I crawl in bed and watch Yankee highlights for the rest of the day from past games and not do the show? And I was like, you got to get up and do this. But I never put myself, there's a point here, trust me. I didn't put myself in the frame of mind. And since Elvin scolded me that day, truthfully, and you did after repeatedly, I don't think I ever realized how bad it was when you are in a crappy mood and you choose not to be happy and you choose to say, well, these things are happening around me. I have no choice, because I affected and infected everything. So that's why I go goof around about this little thing that says breathe. I got them all over the place. But in all seriousness, Mary, it is a constant decision. And when I don't do it, I slip back into not being happy, as if, it's a natural state. I'm just not happy.
Yeah.
There's a point here, or is there not, Mary?
There's completely a point. And to your credit, Steve, you have been willing to listen and to have that mirror placed up in front of you that says, yes, you do have a choice. And especially when you're a leader in a leadership position, there's the mirror. I love your props. Dinosaur, elephant. Can you pull any of those props?
I thought you were just calling me a dinosaur.
No. I'm just laughing at the props. And, but yeah, so you have a choice, right? And we all get in a funk. We all are, we're tired. We're hungover sometimes after a long weekend of like Super Bowl or you name it. But on that day, you have a choice. So I've said this before on the show, and I'm going to say it again. As soon as I wake up, no matter how tired I am, before I swing my feet out of bed, I say, you're going to be positive, you're going to be productive, and you're going to be focused. Why do I do that? Because if you don't set an intention for the day, it can go awry in a second. It could be that your coffee machine needs to, be clean, so you can't make your coffee, or your dog pooped on the floor. Steve, I
Hold
know
on,
that.
Mary, this morning, I was going to show it on the air. The first
Do
thing
not. No, I don't even think we're allowed to
Hold
show
on.
fecal
Our
matter.
Our daughter left for school. Our other sons are away at school. My wife went on, she's a stager. She's staging a home somewhere. And she was complaining, by the way. She was not happy to do it and was not happy. But I go downstairs before I come upstairs and there's dog poop and I go, there's nobody here. I guess I have to clean it.
Yep. But you want to know
And
what? That is a gift. The dog left you a gift. Why?
Did she have, hold on one second. April, did she just say that the dog poop was a gift? Are you serious right now? You're joking.
A gift. If you choose to see it that way, it is a gift that you woke up this morning.
I'm showing a picture.
It's a gift. We're not going to show. I don't think you're allowed to show that on TV without having some major disclaimer or something. Don't show it. Please
Really?
don't. Please
Alvin,
stop.
what do you say? Alvin?
We're not even going to show that later.
It's
no,
not
but
even
seriously,
Pete.
Steve.
It's Champ. It's not even. My wife also says, and stop blaming Pete, the dog. It's Champ. I said, you say he's a puppy. Mary, how do we, I want to stay positive, but how the heck do we have a dog walker who walks the dog? He doesn't poop. He comes home and chooses to poop. What is that?
No,
And
but
you're
I'm saying though,
that's a
it's
gift?
an opportunity. Every challenge is an opportunity. So that's why I said that's a gift. It's a gift because you have a dog that when you're stressed out, you're going to pet that dog. It's a proven scientific fact that if you pet a dog, your blood pressure goes down, you breathe, you want to get out walking. You have dogs now. You could take them for a walk. So all of those things
No,
in life.
go back, Mary. You can't end the show by saying poop is a gift.
Poop is a gift. Because it, number one, in that moment you had a choice to make, and that was a gift to you because it reminded you that no matter how poopy the rest of the day gets, that may be the worst thing that happens today, and if so, that's a really good day. So that's why I say that little gift from your dog.
You know, that's an Italian expression like this. Italians do this.
Yeah.
Ready? What about if I left the gift all day for my wife and on my daughter, so then they came home in the afternoon, I'm up here working on lessons in leadership, and I leave them a gift in the kitchen.
And you could have, but let's just get back to where we started with this. It's the power of positivity, and it's all about literally, I can get that out. Just, it's that frame of mind. No matter what happens to you, you are 100% in control of your attitude.
Elvin says we have to go. He's positive, but he also said he positively said we should no longer talk about dog poop. All right, that's it. Lessons in leadership. You never know what's going to come up or what's going to come out. I'll see.
Catch you next time.
This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the Buccino Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, Fedway Associates Inc., Veolia, Resourcing the World, Choose New Jersey, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague, Mary Gamba, has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA, and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ, and Commerce Magazine, and Meadowlands Media, a print and digital business news network.
This is the Seton Hall story, one that comes to life every day on our campus. This is the place where great minds discover, innovate, collaborate, and find their true calling. This is the place where passion has a purpose, where learning inspires leading. The bonds we make, the values we teach, inspire our community to take heart and take action. This is Seton Hall University. This is what great minds can do.
The essence of the North Ward Center is ingrained in our values, thoughts, and actions. What began as a storefront on Bloomfield Avenue has evolved into a life-changing community nonprofit. The mansion is steeped in tradition, but with all of its grandeur, the true essence of the North Ward Center is in the people we serve. So as the North Ward Center commemorates 50 years of service, let's also celebrate the many opportunities yet to come.